what's up? Tonight we are talking again about dispute letter tactics and methods so that you can remove your negative items. I don't care what it is. As long as it's not child support, it can be a late payment, an inquiry, a collection, charge-off, foreclosure, repossession, bankruptcy, judgment, whatever. As long as it's not that, then you can remove it, but you need to know how. You see, so many people are getting it totally confused. If it were as simple as sending out 1 or even 2 or even 3 dispute letters, there wouldn't be 68 million people with bad credit. The bureaus wouldn't be getting 1.5 million disputes per month per bureau for the last 2 years, right? There would just be, a handful of people disputing. No, the number is going up significantly every single year. So let's look at the board right here, and actually just one moment before we get started, make sure to smash that like. Go do it right now. Smash that like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and if you want to see if this is something that I can do for you, because I already know all this stuff, head over to my740.com, schedule a call, and I'll see if I can help. All right, so over here we have 4 different categories. All right, on the far right we have creditors. This one is collectors. In the center, we'll get to that in just a moment. And over here we have bureaus, right? Because the entire point is that we need to do everything possible to get these things removed. And that's why we're coming at them from all different angles, right? Poly-angle dispute tactics, okay? So we're not just setting up bureau disputes. And yeah, it all depends on what you're disputing, right? So this is what I use for my own clients. I do not just do one thing. One thing is definitely a great way to drag someone on month after month, year after year. Okay, so normally with like charge-offs or foreclosures or even repossessions, things that are really, really difficult, student loans as well, you're going to most definitely use this method. We're talking about factual. All right, so we're going to start with date last active. All right, date last paid. And this is outside blatant inaccuracies. You have 3 different balances. You have 3 different past dues. You have a monthly payment on a closed account. Those are blatant inaccuracies. All right, so why are we starting with date last active? Well, I have a video that breaks this down and explains what all of these elements mean and how they affect each other. But your date last paid influences your date last active because it starts that timing of when the 7-year time frame happens, right? So if this is not correct, then guess what? That 7-year time doesn't really matter because your account's going to come off of each bureau at totally different times, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so then we have notice of dispute. What the heck is a notice of dispute? I broke it down the other night. The bureaus are required, and the video I'm referencing, I am going to post it down in the description, but the bureaus are required, as well as collectors and as well as the creditors, data furnishers, to enter something that says disputed by consumer or account is in dispute, something like that, a notice of dispute in the comment section within 30 days of when they received your first dispute. If they don't do that, it's a violation. Now, guess what? The reason why this is so high up here on the hierarchy is because they don't do it. They don't do it. It's a violation pursuant to section 623 of the FCRA and 807 of the FDCPA. And that's why it's the key. The number one key to results is going to be this notice of dispute, all right? After that, we have date last reported. Now, this is going to report as a couple of different things depending on which bureau we're talking about, but it could be date of status, date last reported, status update date, and I've even seen a couple of others, right? But basically what happens is when you send in a dispute and they say that it's verified, they're required to update the date last reported. If they don't do it, it obviously means they didn't do an investigation because this date is supposed to change. You can't tell me that you verified it and that there's been an investigation, but you didn't change this date. That's why it's important, because you can show, you can prove that no investigation actually took place, right? So after this, now we have payment history. You need to start looking for first date of delinquency. You need to look at the 30-day lates and the 60-day lates and the 90-day lates. Are they congruent? Are they consistent from report to report? If they're not, use them. Use them to dispute the account for removal. Now, obviously, if you're just trying to get a couple of late payments removed, you wouldn't go this route, right? You would say something like, I don't know, I wasn't late on X date. Please update this to paid as agreed. Or, you know, with student loans, if it says okay, 90, you're going to try to remove that 90-day late payment by showing them that it doesn't start at 30, then 60, then 90 days late, right? Because otherwise, on time 90 means that on time we're actually inaccurate, right? Okay, so now with an unpaid charge off, you're going to see that it still says late payments or charge off forever in the payment history. This happens because the account is not paid. Now, I don't care that it happens because of. What I care is that in the FCRA, it doesn't say anything about it can report like that, right? So we're going to use this to our advantage, okay? Once an account is closed, there should not be any payment history after that date. Once it's charged off, the account's closed. How is there payment history? Unless I pay on the account, there should be nothing else there. Okay, and then as I mentioned, first date of delinquency. All right, that's a very important date. We're actually going to talk about that in a moment. So make sure you stay to the end of this video because you need to know this entire process so that you can use it to your advantage, right? Again, if these things were so simple, there wouldn't be this entire flow. It would just be, hey, send out this letter, or hey, send out this letter right here. And remember, when people are sending out all of these same letters, these templates, 609s and 1681s and 611s and blah, 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 they're for very specific situations, but with the bureaus receiving 1.5 million disputes per month per bureau, I can guarantee you that, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of that million is probably just what, templates? Yeah. So guess what? They've seen it, they've done it, they expect it. And if you're not sending out something that is unique and targeted and specific to your situation, then it's going to be just like it is for everyone else. They're going to send you a return template that they have already set up for you. All right. So let's go over to creditors. While you are disputing over here, you are also going to be sending out your disputes over with the actual data furnisher. Now, you need to be really careful with this. Why? Well, FCRA 623 says that you're only protected under this section if you first dispute with the bureaus, right? So, and if it's within the statute of limitations, you don't want to rile things up and make it so that they reach out to you and try to start collecting again. So only dispute in very specific circumstances where you are absolutely certain that you're not going to be ruffling the wrong feathers, okay? Because remember, these people want their money, okay? All right, so when the bureaus come back and they say that when you disputed the date last active that it was accurate and you're seeing 3 different dates, you are now going to dispute with the creditor and you're going to say, please send me a statement that gives me the actual date of last activity. Now you can use that to send back to the bureaus using the evolution line method. I will post that video down in the description as well so that you can basically prove that they lied and this is not correct. Another thing that you can do is the same thing with the date last paid. If you are disputing the date last paid over here and they're saying, oh, this is verified as accurate, and you're seeing 2 to 3 different dates, now you're going to reach out, get that actual date of last payment and use it to prove that the bureaus are incorrect and that they did not investigate and get the account removed. Another thing is with late payments, ask for an itemized list of late payments. This is going to help you in 2 ways. It's going to help you if you have the bureaus reporting different late payment dates when obviously it should be the same late payment dates across the board. And it can also help the creditor actually look at the account and possibly see that maybe something is not correct and get some late payments removed, right? Okay, so if that doesn't work, you can use factual disputes with the creditors if, disputing this way and this way doesn't work. But another thing you could do is reach out to collectors, because let's say you have a charge off. It was sold to portfolio recovery. Now you have the original creditor and the debt buyer on your credit report, and you also need to dispute with the bureau. So now you have 3 different parties that you can reach out to get rid of these accounts. Okay, if you're only doing one thing, you are going to make it a lengthy process when this is super difficult already. Okay, so now we have validation of debt. This is specifically for third-party collections like medical, utility, car insurance, some apartments. You're not going to use this method with the bureaus, and you're not going to use this method with the data furnisher. It's only for third-party collections. There is something totally different for debt buyers. With a debt buyer, you're actually going to go after late payments in the payment history because account's already late. This is actually an FCRA violation. And you're also going to go after the past due, excuse me. And you can also dispute a limit on one of those collections. So that is how you get rid of them. And then you're going after this series over here. Okay. That's how you remove portfolio recovery, mid lane, cavalry, so on and so forth. Okay. So with the collections, you actually have 4 letters, and I did put out a video the other night. If I can remember, I will post that down in the description as well. But using the validation of debt, we have 4 letters. The 4th one is where we're actually going to go to small claims. So we're just talking about rounds 1, 2, and 3. Now 3 is actually the key, and the key is the same as I mentioned over here, entering the notice of dispute, which they are not going to do, which is why with these collections specifically, we're reaching out to the collectors first, because they are 9 times out of 10 not going to put the notice of dispute, while the bureaus are much more likely to enter it. Okay, so then if that doesn't work, you can go factual, while also disputing your collections with the bureaus, trying to put that burden of proof on them to come up with some sort of documentation, because it's just a virtual account. There is no documentation. There's actually no documentation until the discovery process during a lawsuit. Okay, now what goes in the center? What goes in the center is, don't forget, you also have CFPB complaints, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau complaints, which you're going to use after you've done all of this to no avail, because you're going to have proof that you've disputed, that they lied, that they said that it was accurate, when you have your proof over here from the data furnisher that it's not accurate and that it's totally incorrect. And all your violations, you're going to log them, their failure to respond, all this stuff. And this is why it's so important to document everything. Then you also have BBB complaints, you also have AG complaints, and even though it really doesn't do anything and it's just a matter of record, you can also do FTC complaints. So as you can see, and we're not even talking about all the other things that you have available to you, like the 66 advanced dispute letter tactics that I am also going to post down in the description, but you have a lot to work with here to remove whatever it is that you're disputing. So don't give up, but also understand that, again, these things are going to take you time to remove. They didn't come on overnight. They're not going to come off overnight. And what really pisses me off is when people come to me and say, hey, I didn't do anything for 5 years. And, it's in collections. They're trying to sue me. They're trying to do all this stuff. But I need you to get it off in 3 rounds. Like, dude, you didn't do anything for 5 years and now you want it to come off overnight. Well, you should have contacted me 4 years and 6 months ago. Okay, so understand that with the process, it's very difficult, but when you do it the right way, these things can come off. It is not something that is going to be handed to you. You're not going to be rewarded with a deletion. You have to fight for it. And when you are fighting for it, you need to have actual tools in your arsenal to hit the bureaus with cannons instead of squirt guns. So if you want access to those things, head down into the description. If you have questions about this, post it down in the comments. And if you want to see, again, if this is something that I can do for you instead of you trying to figure this entire thing out yourself, head over to my740.com. I will see if I can help. And otherwise, again, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. Check out all those links down in the description, and I will see you tomorrow. Oh, and I know that someone's going to ask, so I'm going to answer it. I got these on Amazon, and I actually use them when homeschooling my children. I have an almost 4-year-old and I have a 7-year-old. You just write on them, you can erase them and stick them right back on. Boop. They also work great on the refrigerator. All right, so now that I have this stuff all over my hands, I will see you later. Bye.